Hi, welcome back to CS170. Just going to add this video on to the other three videos we've already done. And this is just a quick uh, review of the logistics. Some of it I already covered in my first lecture, but we'll hit these and there'll be some that I might have went through fairly quickly. And so we'll just make sure everyone here understands the details about the logistics. So on this page, we talk about the course goals. So you see, basically, we'll be talking about how we apply or implement um, technology to solve mathematical or formal processes, um, solve problems, and just understand the principles that underlie information systems. Okay. On this page, I covered this in my first lecture, and basically it's just going into Canvas, going into the recitation locations PDF, and for all of you that's watching this video now, you should be under my sections, which would show all asynchronous. And just to clarify for people that may not know what asynchronous means, um, so asynchronous just means that we don't have a set time and place where you are obligated to show up and meet in the lecture setting, and we just kind of talk back and forth in that. That would be considered synchronous communication. So asynchronous communication, an example might be emails. I send you an email, or you send me an email. At some point in the time, in the future, we may respond and go back and forth on email, but we don't have to be talking to each other at the same time. So same thing for these lectures. So that's what it means when you're in my sections, which are asynchronous. We'll be recording all of our sessions, whether it's the my session here for the lectures or the sections that the teaching assistants are covering for the recitations. But I do want to emphasize, and I did emphasize this before, that just because we're doing asynchronous, it doesn't mean that we're trying to limit the engagement. In fact, we want to encourage more engagement. That's why I mentioned before, I really encourage you to send emails, send messages, um, reach out to me for office hours or for the teaching assistants for their office hours, and take the time to ask questions about anything that you may not understand that we've covered in the recorded sessions. Follow up on any questions you may have on the assignments. Some people mentioned to me about some questions on the textbook questions for the week's reading. Feel free, we can talk about any of those topics. Um, so just have to reach out to me. So, I do want to emphasize that although we are asynchronous, the engagement is important to us. If there's any feedback about how we can make things better, we want to hear that also. This is obviously a relatively new thing for us to be pretty much online all the time, especially in this class being asynchronous. This is new for us. So we're always going to be looking for ways to evolve and make things better for all of you. And it doesn't really help you too much if you wait until the end of the class to give us that feedback. Give us the feedback now, and we can do something about it. Okay. So the next part, you go into the modules. You'll have some of these different pieces of information, namely the syllabus, which is important. So all of these I kind of covered in the first lecture. So this one, you can see here, we still don't have all of the detailed logistics on the date and time, but we do have the final here, which is good. So we've gotten that approved actually, so that's good. And for some people, they asked about whether they would be submitting their exams, like through email or whatever. And so this answers it right here, right? So we're going to be administering the exams on Canvas. Okay, so there's like a quizzes tool that will be able to administer exams, and when the exams come up, we'll cover that in more detail. And there's documentation that we need to collect if you have any issues with the exam times. And some of these things with the athletic conflicts, I don't know how much of that we're really going to have on this semester, but if there's something like that, again, I need documentation for that. So make sure you send that to us. As far as special accommodations, we can't wait until the last minute. You need to make those type of requests as soon as possible. And then we can document it and go through the process to make those accommodations. Okay. This one I talked about in the first lecture also. I think the note here, like I mentioned before, we've changed the class from prior classes where there's a lot less emphasis on exams. Before, this gray area, which was the exams, took up more than half the pie. Now it's down to 35%. And to really take that place, we've kind of boosted up the weighting on the assignments and whatnot. And we've changed a little bit of the formatting in terms of the quizzes. Before we didn't even have quizzes like this. Basically the bottom line here is these are the point distributions. These are the things that we've emphasized more, and the pie chart just kind of emphasizes that. This is still to be the same. Like I mentioned before, here's 10 points of instructor's credit, which I will give to you. All you have to do is on a regular basis send me emails, respond to questions that I've put into the recorded lectures for you to see. Or there might be like a quick little spot survey that I might put out, whatever it is. Feel free just to send me emails, and that's the whole point, is to increase our engagement. If you can show me that you're fairly engaged throughout the semester, I'll give you the 10 points for your extra credit, okay? And that basically gets added on top of these points here. So these point ranges is basically all of the stuff up here, right? So you see your exams and whatnot. So above and beyond that, you see we have 10 points here. You have the TAs giving you 8 points. And then that first assignment is 2. So that's a total of 20 points, which is pretty significant, right? You can see here, let's say 435 to 450 points. That's like a B+. Very easily, if you fall within here, I throw 20 points on top of that, and that throws you up to an A. Okay, so these extra credits, pretty good. Pay attention to that. For some of the assignments, and I think the TAs will also cover this for you. This is important. There's a timer on the Canvas submission, so once it hits those due dates at midnight, that's it. You're locked out. You won't be able to put it in, and in fact, I can't even put it in, right? So everything is very important that you hit the deadline before the assignments lock you out, which is midnight of the due date. So there is like a free late concept. So you can get one of those, and all that really does is we kind of submit the assignment on the side, and then we basically take away the penalty. So you can't really do that for all of the assignments. That's a lot if you multiply it by how many students we have in the class. But we allow for 1 for every student. Okay. But based on my past experience with this, if you want to practice uploading things, just practice. Make sure that you're not going to have any issues. You want to do that sooner. Don't wait until midnight of the due date and then try to put it in. You might get locked out or whatever, and then you have some problems. And then the other thing I recommend is after you put it up there, go back into the page and verify that what you submit is actually what's in the system. Okay, don't walk away and just assume that it's done. Okay, so if you can do that, you'll save yourself a lot of trouble and headache. Okay, so the exams, second chance policy, again, this is something that you'll also probably get some more repeat of this message from your teaching assistants. All that means is that you take the first or second exam, and then if you cover the same material for the final exam and you do better with that, we'll take that better score, right? Caveat to that is it doesn't mean that you can blow off your first and second exam. You know, you still have to get a non-zero score before we could allow the second chance policy. And it doesn't work in reverse. So it doesn't mean that if you got a better score on your first exam, that you're going to get that applied to your final exam if you do poor in the final exam. So it only goes one way. Okay, so that's what's meant by the second chance policy. So if there's more questions on that, just feel free, you know, drop me a line, let me know. Okay. I think textbook we've talked about in the past. You know, some people ask me whether they can use older version. I think that's fine. If it's like one version back or so, it's not that big of a deal. The only thing I might suggest is that if you have the older version, some of the questions might be different. You just reach out to one of your friends in the class if they have the latest version, and just make sure you sync on that. Or if somehow you see that you're missing something, you can't find someone in class to help you out with that, just let one of the TAs know to clarify those questions. Okay, I don't think any of the content should be much different. It should be pretty much the same. And you know, if you look at the learning objectives, make sure that whatever we cover, whether it's on the book or on the lectures, that we're lined up to the learning objectives. If we're hitting the learning objectives, you should be good. Okay, so that's what I have to say about the textbook. And that's it. All right, good luck, and we'll see you again soon.